The movie opens up with the introduction of a billionaire businessman, Jason, who has surpassed everyone's expectations by taking control of the assets of his grandfather worth $2 billion. Meanwhile, his girlfriend Alexia, who works as a nurse, selflessly volunteers at a clinic in Haiti that caters to children battling cancer. While Alexia is at her workplace, Jason surprises her by sending her a beautiful dress as a gift and inviting her out for a romantic dinner. Alexia also agrees to it, and next, we see them together at a fancy restaurant. Unfortunately, just when Jason is about to propose to Alexia, his plans are interrupted by a court order, which requires him to attend the court hearings immediately. Jason discovers that his uncle has filed a lawsuit against him, accusing him of violating the terms of Red's fund, an asset that he manages. With no other choice, Jason leaves the place and hurries to the court. During the court proceedings, Jason's uncle proposes removing Jason from his position, pointing out his detachment from the family and his extravagant lifestyle. Jason fights tirelessly to defend his rights, but this unfortunate situation causes a rift within their once close family members. This turns them against each other in pursuit of monetary gain. Seeing Jason getting hyper about the trust fund and quarreling with his family members, Alexia feels that he's prioritizing the fund over their relationship. She then makes a difficult decision to leave for Haiti without a proper farewell. She manages to approach Jason briefly to bid him goodbye, but as he's so preoccupied with the lawsuit, he cannot even give her the attention she deserves. Before her departure, Alexia also leaves Jason a heartfelt letter, but he does not get enough time to read it immediately. However, later, while sorting through papers, Jason finally remembers the letter and opens it, discovering Alexia's journey to Haiti. Feeling lost and alone, Jason then seeks guidance from Hamilton, his late grandfather's trusted friend. Recognizing that Alexia's decision to go to Haiti is not impulsive, but a response to the circumstances, Hamilton hands Jason his grandfather's diary, hoping it will provide insights and solutions to his current and future challenges. In the next scene, as Jason immerses himself in his grandfather's diary, he gains valuable wisdom from his life experiences. He gets to know that Red, his grandfather, actually came from a humble background and dropped out of school at the age of 15 to work as an ice delivery boy. The scene then shifts back in time when Red faces mockery from wealthier families during his deliveries. One day, while on the job, Red stumbles upon a newspaper article recounting the success story of a billionaire. Inspired by the similarities between their childhoods, Red silently resolves to become a billionaire himself. Red has a younger brother and a sister, and his family meals often consist of soups. Red shows the newspaper to his father, expressing his determination to become rich and provide better medical care for their ailing mother. However, his father dismisses his ambitions, insisting that Red is destined to remain poor. Undeterred, Red leaves a note for his mother and embarks on a journey, refusing to accept poverty as his predetermined fate. The following morning, Red hops on a train and encounters a man who helps him from getting caught by the rail guards. The man emphasizes the importance of appreciating even the smallest blessings, such as good health. Later, when the train reaches Texas, the man with whom Red has been conversing jumps off before it reaches its final destination. Following him, Red also decides to jump off the train and walks behind a group of men in an entirely unfamiliar place. He follows the small group of people and reaches a location where a rancher is looking for temporary workers. Among the crowd, Red, despite being the youngest, stands out due to his energy and enthusiasm, catching the attention of the rancher, who ultimately selects him for the job. Red, along with 5 others, get on the rancher's truck and drive towards their workplace. Soon, Red begins working at the ranch, despite having no prior experience in the tasks assigned. It is here he meets Gus, a slightly older local who previously owned his own ranch but lost it during the Great Depression. Gus, determined to regain ownership of a ranch one day, suggests Red go to California, where more job opportunities are available. At night, Gus and the other workers gather to play cards, but Red is consumed with thoughts about how to accumulate wealth at a faster pace. He wants to avoid being dependent on such labor-intensive jobs as he grows older. Curious about achieving success, Red leaves the game and approaches the rancher to ask for guidance. The rancher explains that success requires multiple factors, and the ability to lead and make things prosperous for oneself. Red understands that he needs to think beyond daily wages and proposes a deal to the rancher. He asks if completing a task a day earlier will save the rancher money, to which the rancher confirms that it will indeed reduce expenses. Motivated by this knowledge, Red strikes an agreement with the rancher. If he manages to finish the assigned work one day ahead of schedule, the rancher will reward him with a portion of the money saved. To his good luck, the rancher agrees with him. The following day, when other workers wake up in the morning, they assume that Red has secretly run away. However, as they arrive at the field, they are surprised to find that Red has been working diligently since 3 a.m. Here, they realize that Red's efficiency has greatly improved along with the overall productivity. Red then divides everyone into groups and suggests they take different responsibilities and work as if they are at an assembly line. With his leadership, they manage to complete their work one day earlier. True to his word, the rancher rewards Red with higher wages and praises his exceptional abilities. Later, Red goes to town to send some money back home to buy medicines for his mother. Right then, he strikes up a conversation with a seemingly wealthy individual, looking at his customized costly belt. The man questions Red's desire to go to California, suggesting that there's an abundance of opportunities in Texas related to oil, although he doesn't provide a direct answer. Afterward, while passing a shop on the street, Red is captivated by a beautiful girl named Hannah. Unable to take his eyes off her, he stands there in awe. Hannah warmly greets Red and invites him to a youth dance party being held at the school gym. Attracted by her beauty, Red immediately accepts the invitation. At night, Red dresses up and happily attends the event, where he boldly confesses his feelings to Hannah. He even accompanies her home, enduring the teasing of Hannah's brother-in-law. During their conversation, Red reiterates his determination to become a billionaire someday. Recognizing Red's ambition, Hannah decides to take him to meet the school principal, hoping he can take an entrance exam and enroll in study. However, Red believes he can educate himself and mentions successful individuals who achieved greatness without much formal education. After listening to Red's beliefs, the principal emphasizes the importance of education but does not hesitate to acknowledge his ambition. To prove himself, Red quickly calculates the answer to a complex multiplication problem mentioned by the principal. He also discusses the pathology of skin disease on the principal's hands, indicating that someone as educated as the principal earns only a modest annual income. Red expresses dissatisfaction with earning so little money. On the other hand, Hannah feels disappointed by Red's performance, sensing that his outward confidence masks his inner fears and weaknesses. The next day, Red goes to class, making Hannah happy that he listened to her advice. Their bond strengthens as they return to school and enjoy their time together. One day, during their date at a cafe, the duo hear news about the war breaking out, specifically the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. With a feeling that he needs to protect his country, Red then decides to join the army by lying about his age. Next, he doesn't have the courage to talk to Hannah until he's about to leave. Hannah strongly disagrees with his decision, but Red insists on joining the army to prove himself and fight for what he deserves. They argue passionately, and Hannah, upset, declares that she won't wait for him. On the battlefield, an officer assigns a scared recruit to deliver a cover to the front lines. Without hesitation, Red steps forward, takes the cover, and rushes to the front. He finds cover in a foxhole and meets Gus, who was also at the ranch. After a brief conversation, Red pushes forward, but narrowly avoids a cannonball. Gus, witnessing the danger, calls for his teammates to cover him and bravely rushes to save Red. Time passes and the scene shifts to the year 1955, when Red has become an oil driller. Unfortunately, luck isn't on his side, and he fails to find crude oil. By this time, Red and Hannah have already married and are the parents of 4 children. However, the lack of ability to find crude oil poses a financial threat to their family. Feeling discouraged, Red remembers his father's words about their difficult life. Hannah advises him not to dwell on it since there's nothing they can do at the moment. Red considers investing in their family, but realizes he's neglected his children and hasn't provided them with the attention they deserve. He then decides to go outside and play baseball with his son. During the play, his son asks him about why he doesn't seek help from the experts to find the source of crude oil. Motivated by his son's words, Red invites a geologist to help him, and despite doubts about the geologist's reliability, they surprisingly find oil. Red returns home covered in oil, overjoyed, and embraces Hannah and their children excitedly. As the amount of oil extracted increases, Red faces lawsuits regarding property rights over the oil field. The original rancher, upon seeing the oil, sues Red, accusing him of deceiving his mining rights. In response, Red also finds a lawyer through leaflets in a telephone booth and meets his lifelong friend Hamilton at the courthouse. Hamilton assists Red in settling the lawsuit before the trial officially begins. They discovered that the contract for the land and mineral rights was signed by both parties 2 years and 2 months ago. According to Texas law, disputes over mineral rights are limited to a 2-year period. The opposing lawyer, unfamiliar with mining rights regulations and specializing in divorces, leaves in a desperate manner. After that, Hamilton becomes an important helper in Red's growing crude oil business, and their friendship grows stronger over the years. 13 years later, Red's business flourishes, but he cannot ignore the fact that people have limited energy. Sadly, he's neglected his family while focusing on his career. His children only know how to ask for money and have no emotional connection with their father. Before Hannah can express her thoughts, Red hastily packs his bags for a business trip with Hamilton to discuss buying a refinery. In the following scene, Red's arrogant behavior during the contract negotiations causes problems, but he has insider information that the other party's refinery recently suffered a costly explosion. He decides to stay in a nearby hotel, hoping for a change of their seller's heart. Days go by without any news, and Christmas Eve arrives. Hamilton advises Red to give up waiting and spend Christmas with Hannah and the kids. However, Red stubbornly refuses to fly back and expresses determination to acquire the refinery and stays put. Listening to this, Hamilton has no choice but to fly back alone. Luckily, Red's persistence pays off when the other party sends the signed contract early the next morning. After acquiring the refinery, his own company becomes a billion-dollar enterprise. Despite finally achieving his dream after many years, Red feels a sense of loneliness. There is no one to share and enjoy his success with. Just then, Hannah calls with distressing news. Hamilton has been in a car accident and has suffered severe internal injuries, including ruptured kidneys. Witnessing Hamilton's condition in the hospital, Red has a sudden realization. While chasing after money, he has forsaken many things of greater importance. Determined, he decides to donate one of his kidneys to Hamilton, ensuring his friend's well-being. Understanding deeply that money is merely a dream, while family is his true wealth, Red resolves to use corporate profits for a charitable project. He and Hannah share this decision with their 4 children, giving each of them $10,000 and encouraging them to use the money to help others. Disappointed by the children's response, Red's second son approaches him later and returns the money. He wants to contribute it to the charitable project. It is a test Red has set for his children. Ultimately, the second son, Jason, inherits the family's wealth and becomes a responsible father. In the last scene, Jason realizes that the material riches left by the family are far less significant than the family's legacy. He understands that the greatest wealth in life are the loved ones around him. Entrusting the fund matters to Hamilton, he travels to Haiti to confess his feelings to Alexia. The movie ends with Jason proposing to Alexia and eventually getting married to her.